Controversy is everywhere. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked why I take on the issues that I take on. The Kylin English was certainly an issue. The thing that warmed my heart, and I'm glad at least one of my board members is here tonight to bear witness. I wondered and worried sometimes what the board's going to say. My board of directors, after the Kylin English situation and we got involved, gave me a standing ovation. You remember that? And one of the members of the board said, finally. And I said, what do you mean? She said, finally somebody in the Christian community is standing up at a time when we need to stand up. Finally! Let me tell you one of the first things, and Brother Robbie English is here, Kylin's brother. You'll hear from him. Brother Bobby English is here, Kylin's dad. We're glad he's here. One of the first things I said to those young folk, Robbie, if you remember on the bridge, Sheena, you were there. I said, this is an outstanding time to be alive. Because I see a movement underway. Brothers and sisters, when I look at the condition of the bridge, I see us being attacked on every hand. I don't care what anybody says. Controversial, that statement in and of itself is. But I don't mind a little controversy. We do okay when we accept the prison, Bishop Cox. We do okay when we take the landfill. But then they want to take the post office. You know, we let Kroger's run away from here. Folks said I was crazy for dealing with that. I think that people, when they don't understand what the issues really are, I think that they then point the finger at you when you take position. I see, as I said to those young folk, an opportunity for a movement to take place. When I look at the men and the women who have gotten involved in the postal situation, I say, God, thank you. I listened to WBAO today, and I was entreated to a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to hear what's going on and why it's important to keep certain branches of this post office open. When I look at the young people, and I got offended. Let me tell you what offended me, because we're going to talk a little bit about police-community relations. This is our segue. This is just our introduction. I was happy to see young people come together, but the thing that most offended me was the follow-up that was done. Not by the young folks, but by some of us who call ourselves community leaders. And let me tell you what really happens in this city and in every city I've ever been to. And you got to understand, my background includes Birmingham, Selma, Montgomery, Atlanta, where I pastored for a number of years and was very much involved in the movement. I know the movement. Right now I'm going to single out my closest family, black folk. We always got what I call some good old Negroes sitting at home, waiting on the phone to ring, so they can give their 2 cents worth when they ain't out here doing nothing. Amen. I'm right anyhow. That's right. We always got folk, and they did it during Dr. King's time. Young folk, don't let nobody lie to you. Don't let them tell you because we now have a monument to Dr. King in D.C. that everybody always loved Dr. King. There were some black folk couldn't stand it. Till he died. Then he was all right. But in Montgomery, whether you're talking about in Birmingham, whether you talk about, am I right, Bishop Cox? You're a history of this, you're a student of the history of this movement. O'Connor always has some good black folk he can call and say, can't you settle those people down? They always have the good church pastor. That's why preachers get mad at me. I always call them out, right? Can't y'all do something in the name of peace on that bridge? Let me tell you, the young folks had already done prayer vigils on the bridge, and they were peaceful. Don't let anybody tell you they weren't. They were. When we walked from the bridge to the city commission meeting, it was peaceful. Was anybody there? We even made the statement, Sister Sheena, if I remember right, don't give nobody a reason to bother you. Stop when the thing say don't walk. And we're way across the street. Everything was in peace. How dare us come back 2 or 3 weeks later not talk to the family, and then show up and say, we're going to do just a little peace, just peace vigil on the bridge when it had already been done. Adam Project, because here's the next big question that I get, panelists. You're a reentry organization. What in the world you got to do with what's going on in the neighborhood? Everything.
Come on.
Some of y'all don't realize it, but reentry is a civil rights issue. You don't believe that it's a civil rights issue. I dare you to read The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness by Professor Michelle Alexander. She's coming back here again from what I understand, but make note, the Adam Project, without one thin dime, had the sister here the minute the book was released. It ain't always how much money you got. It's where your heart is. We do what we do, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm introducing you to the Adam Project for those that don't know. We ain't got no grant money. I know that ain't correct. My mama's a retired English teacher. We have no grant money. We have no foundation money. We got a nice office, though, don't we, Miss Cooper? We just moved from one nice building to another. We got some folks coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden saying, I got a house. Can y'all use a house? We getting ready to get into transitional housing. We getting ready to do some stuff. When Ronald Reagan was elected president of the United States, we used to think Uncle Ronnie, you know, everybody, I don't know why black folks loved him, but we loved Ronnie. We thought Uncle Ronnie was going to ride through the community. You know, he acted like he wanted to be an actor, then he acted like he could be president. But we thought Ronnie was going to run through the neighborhood riding a big white horse, waving a magic wand, making black folk instantly healthy, wealthy, and wise. Newsflash. Ronnie wasn't coming in, and ain't nobody coming now. We have an African American sitting in the highest office in the land. That's not a racist statement. Nothing I say will ever be racist, because I refuse to be a racist. But yes, I'm color conscious, and I'm aware that oftentimes, because of the color of my skin, I get treated differently than other folk. But what has really changed for us? And I can't blame the President of the United States. I blame us. You see, because once you put folks in a position, you have to create a climate that allows them to get the work done. We have a president who can't even call a press conference on Wednesday. And then has to promise the American people it'll be over before kickoff. Talking about jobs, poverty. How about us? And when I say us, I mean all of us. Because see, I got some brothers and sisters from another mother. We have not been on the case. And when we get on the case, we're labeled radical. Bishop Carter, you are so radical. Sitting up here with a Cincinnati bingo hat on. We get labeled when the reason that we do what we do is because we love God first, and then we love people of God. And I, for one, am sick and tired of doing nothing and watching folk do nothing. Now, there was a time we counted on the black church. That was our leadership back. Let me tell you, most of the reason we counted on the church was because it was the only independent person we had was the preacher. He was the only one that made 100% of his or her income from the black community. He wasn't counting on grants, but then a funny thing happened. They came up with a thing called faith-based money. I ain't saying nobody stole it, but y'all say I said that, because we ain't got there yet. But what happened with faith-based money, we began to take it and use it on our pet projects, and as a consequence, we began to owe everybody. Do you know that's why a lot of leaders can't speak out now? We owe everybody. Well, I may die poor, man, but woe be unto me if I refuse to speak out on the issues that most affect God's people. And I'm tired of watching older Americans, older African Americans in this community suffer. They moved Kroger's. Kroger's was more than a grocery store. We didn't get it then, so it wasn't enough folk fighting. That's the only place that some folks still felt safe enough in their own neighborhood to walk to get their medicine. When they were hungry. And some of us as sons and daughters and grandchildren haven't done a good job of keeping up with grandma and grandpa. So we don't go get them and take them to the grocery store. They were comfortable enough in Westwood to walk to Kroger's. So when you took it you were taking a lifeline. We have replaced Kroger's with food deserts.
Yeah.
Food deserts are those stores where the meat is a different color.
Yeah.
I sat in a meeting a couple of weeks ago with the sheriff and the chief of police, and we were talking about police testing. And I said, you know what y'all need down there? Black or white, y'all need some academians to help put that test together. I said, we got Wright State, Central State, St. Clair, Wilberforce. We got enough colleges so y'all can have some good college professors help y'all put together a fair test. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, a simple question. You ask the average kid from Oakwood, what color is a banana? And they look at you like you're crazy. It's yellow. Hit the right check. You ask the average young man, young sister from the hood who ain't been nowhere but in the hood, they check mark the one that says brown. Because the stores they go to, the bananas are brown by the time they get there. We also are an organization that offers alternatives to young people who are practicing at-risk behaviors that will lead them either to the grave or to prison. What that says is we can stop these young folks from getting there. That's what our mission is. I want to keep some young folks from getting there. Last year we had 3 young men who came, and I'll never forget them. 17, 2 were 17, 1 was 18. They were cousins. 2 were brothers, and the third guy, the other 17-year-old, was a cousin. They sat there in the office of the old building we were in, and they said, look here, Rev, we're going to be honest. Since the age of 12, living on the streets of Dayton, we ain't done nothing but slang. We know what they're talking about. All we done is sell dope. We haven't been shot. We ain't been to prison. But you know what? We feel like it's time. Brother Robbie will bear witness to the fact. How many young folks have I had come to me since the Kylin English situation? They say, they're hustling and I'm sure tired. Can you help me do something else? That's what we have to be. We live in a city, and you'll hear some of this come out, where we keep electing the same old folks. Right. Y'all didn't know I was going to get political, did you? We keep electing the same old folks to do the same old things the same old way. I'm going on record as having said this so y'all don't blame it on the other panelists and get confused about who said what. I think it's long past due when this city needs a strong mayor or a form of government. Y'all remember Cincinnati? Where they were killing a lot of young blacks, they were just shooting them in the back. The police were doing that, not us. Because you see, people have accused me of dealing with the Kylin English situation and not dealing with black folk killing each other. That's a great lie. Those of you who know me know every time there's a shooting out there. In fact, one news reporter said, Reverend, how do you get here so quick? It's like they dial 911 and call you. I said, yeah. I said, and sometimes I get here quicker than the 911 folk. I've been dealing with this issue. And they said, well, what do you say when people ask that as a question? I said, you know, because given your background, they're going to say that you're anti-police. I said, I don't care what they say. But you ask those same people for the past 3 years, what organization, we didn't literally go bankrupt. Now, I always say that because you got to have something to go bankrupt. But what I said was, shame on y'all. That's what I said. That's why I'm glad folk are here to bear witness. I said, shame on y'all. They what? Calling yourselves civil rights organizations. I don't never see you. In fact, in the context of preaching a few weeks ago, I was doing a sermon. And I said, too many of our organizations can't take on the real issues because they got to worry about who's going to pay for the Freedom Fund dinner. And they don't want to upset the folk that write the check. Shame on us! And we tolerate it. Well, need not work the street while this case is being investigated. I ain't never seen the police keep working just like ain't nothing happened. They always take you off the street. They either put you on paid administrative leave, unpaid administrative leave, or they give you a desk job. That has happened. But the second thing was, in this community, and it doesn't matter to me who agrees and who disagrees with this either, I'm going to speak my mind. I don't trust the police investigating themselves. That's right. I already know what you're going to come back with. It's too predictable. We asked the Justice Department, we met with the Justice Department official. We met with the Justice Department official. The Justice Department is officially doing the investigation, and we're waiting on the results. Now, I was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and this is what was said near the end of that meeting. Reverend, do you think you can keep both calm? And I said, well, I ain't seen nobody upset. Everybody's been peaceful. Everybody's been cooperative. What are you talking about? Well, if it doesn't come back, the results of the investigation is what they were saying. The way that you think it's going to come back, I said, these folks ain't been nothing but peaceful anyhow. But the bottom line is, no matter what the investigation results are, we have a young man who had, and a family, who had the reasonable right to expect that he would be protected in their custody. And that did not happen. Yes, sir.
It was funny because when the Justice Department came and we had our meeting, she came in with the assumption that she was going to leave out with basically the community was in the wrong of how we felt about the situation. When we got done with her whole mind frame was different.
Totally changed.
Totally different. She came in that room with her suit on and her briefcase, and this is what it is, y'all gonna listen. When we got through chewing her up and letting her know what it is, her whole mind frame had changed.
It did.
Her whole way of thinking about the situation and how she looked at the police department was totally different than when she left out.
And I think it's important to note, because this was something else that she shared with us during that meeting. She said, we were coming to Dayton anyway in a month. She said, we have more complaints against Dayton police and Trotwood police than almost any other city in America. We were coming in a month. She said all this did was move it up quicker because we see this as a volatile situation. But Brother Robbie hit it right on the head. When she left, her whole mindset had changed. Her disposition had changed. And believe me, she was looking at what the facts were, but she came in with one presumption, but she left, and her heart, I believe, was in it.
I work at UD, and I'm a social worker, and I teach about welfare primarily. That's my research area. So I was really happy to come and talk, well, not happy, to be able to talk about some of the problems associated with welfare lately. Many of you might have heard about the proposal to drug test welfare recipients and applicants. You know, just one more way that we're criminalizing poverty. One of the things that they say about people that apply for or receive TANF is that, you know, we really need to drug test folks that get benefits because they use more drugs than other people. Research doesn't show that at all. Research shows that folks in any population use drugs at about the same level. People that apply for or receive benefits are not like us, right? Research doesn't show that either. There's a really great professor at Washington University in St. Louis called Mark Rank, and he talks about more than 60% of us will at some time in our lives between the ages of 18 and 65 need to access means programs like welfare, SNAP, food stamps, right, or Medicaid. So the majority of people are us, right, not them. People or people need assistance need to be under surveillance by responsible people that make the policy. Well, we know how well this goes, right? So this is based on the old argument from welfare reform, personal responsibility, because poor people don't have any personal responsibility. They can't manage their money, which ignores the fact that poor people are poor. This is just more of the same, right? So more of the language of the welfare queen, but now we can just make sure that we know that she's not just the lazy welfare queen, she's the drug-addicted lazy welfare queen.
That's the picture.
And I think it's really interesting to see what's going on with the attacks on welfare recipients and the similarities between the attacks on public sector workers, right? Same exact language. Lazy, entitled, they've got those gold-plated benefits. After welfare reform, many welfare recipients were actually placed in jobs that displaced other workers, and some of them were union workers. So there's another connection. If you force a bunch of women into low-wage jobs, this serves to force wages down as well. And that was one of the major goals of welfare reform. It wasn't about helping people become more responsible. It was because at the time, they had a need for a bunch of low-wage workers. And they didn't like the idea that wages were going up. With a surplus of workers, like we're experiencing now, employers can choose to hire part-time workers or contingent workers. Then they don't have to pay benefits. So this works really good for the employers, but it doesn't work so well for families that have to support children and their elders. any of the states that have elected conservative governors, like, you know, we're all kicking ourselves if we happen to vote for the one that we have now, have seen the same attacks on labor and on welfare recipients. In Florida, they got rid of, you know, labor protections, and they're testing welfare recipients. Of course, in Florida, it's really a great deal because the governor of Florida's wife owns a company that does the drug testing. So it works out really good for the governor.
I'm actually the brother of Kylin English and also the president of the Kylin Foundation, which stands for Kylin English. If I can I get all the board members to stand for me real quick? It's missing two. Lamar and actually Brother Shackelford, and they couldn't make it today. With the Kylin Foundation, which is established August 16, 2011, is the date that we actually established the Kylin Foundation. Reverend McCorry actually is still going through the paperwork as we speak. Brother Shackelford is actually doing the banking for Sept. What bank we're going through? Huntington, yes. Through Huntington Bank. I actually been putting in paperwork through the city, which they declined these times, or changing the name of the bridge. A lot of people don't know that the name that's on the bridge now was actually a slave owner through Ohio way back in the like 50s and 60s. So they declined 6 times to change the bridge to the Kylin English way. So I'm going to keep putting in with that. First, they told me 5,000 signatures, so I got 5,000 signatures and turned it in last week. They declined it, now they want 10,000 signatures. I'm going to get 10,000 signatures. With the foundation, we actually was dealing with Sheriff Palmer, which Mr. Reverend McCorry was actually saying he dealt with in the past, and actually Matthew Johnson, who owns the Dayton Dragons. We set up a couple things with them. As you know, sometimes when you're out there, it takes a moment to really get the information back. I actually did sit down and speak with them as far as their program. We set out for that, and the state declined that as well, to bring their program back. So with the Kylin Foundation, we actually are having to raise on our own, which is hard. And it's hard. 100 there doesn't accumulate what we really need for the foundation. The rules that apply to having a foundation, and let's say this, Kylin will be the first and only young black male at the age of 21 to have a foundation in the state of Ohio. Never happened. He was the first. We're going to accomplish that. Once paper is sent in, what they need is establish to where the foundation is located, to what our budget for what we're donating, our budget increases are, what is the tax, what the foundation is going to do. Miss Avery actually does all the standings, the paperwork for what the foundation is going to cover. She's here with her today, so I'm gonna try to remember. Some of it. I know one was the women's program, which is for women who are single parents or doesn't have the means to just rely on welfare. With the Kylin Foundation, a lot of donations that the city does is going to actually go towards that. And then another program was a program that I was actually going to be like very hands-on with, was like a Big Brothers program to a lot of people, whether you're older than me or younger than me, who's going through violent situations or who's out there selling drugs. Because since Kylin passed away, like I don't speak on it on Facebook and I don't talk about it a lot, but with these two gentlemen, I've had over 100 fellas come to us on Facebook and to Mr. Reverend McCorry's place of business and actually turn drugs in, asked me to walk them down to the county. I've actually walked 16 guys down to the county and turned in drugs and guns. I don't talk about it because it's not nothing to really put out there in the city for people to know that I'm doing that. But I've actually walked people into the county and turned in drugs and guns, and they actually let them go. And a lot of those guys are actually a part of this now. They actually go out. One of the guys is actually, this Sunday, he was actually, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video with Reverend McCorry when they were singing On Top of the World. He actually made this video with Kylin. He was a street guy. Now he's in the church, and we're actually doing a video for that. So that's going to raise money also for the foundation as well. we've been doing a lot of free stuff. As far as last week, no, 2 weeks ago, we had the bridge event where we did the free, pops and water to everybody that came out to the Riverview Park. And this Sunday, I end up putting up $400 on my own, out of my own pocket, to have a free barbecue for everybody who's been coming out every week doing the marches, supporting, doing the visuals. I want to show that, we appreciate you guys coming out. So I'm going to actually, for the foundation, going to actually have a free barbecue at Riverview Park. I can't think of the dude's name. Boss Magazine actually created a website which should be ready in I think a week. It's for the Kylin English Foundation. On this website, because it's a lot of speculations of people saying that they're donating money and it's going this place, or myself is putting it in my own pocket. On this website, it actually shows when you donate, I actually have you sign something. On this website, it shows where your dollar or your 50 cent or your 50 bucks, whatever you donate, it shows on there where your money is going. So people can actually, this is the first foundation that actually has that. You can look up any foundation. No foundation has a website to let the community see where their money is going. This website shows when you click, it's a part that he has on there from when you do your signature. I put it on there. This person donated. I don't put how much you put. I just say they donated, and it shows something. But you click on the graph, and it shows your money went to the women's program. Your money went to the DARE program. Your money went to the Brick Brother program. And then what was the other three? Helping with elderly. That was one that we really want to do. Because I have a grandmother that Kylin looked at for, drove her to the store, and now that he's not here, she don't have that as often. But it's a lot of elderly people out here that don't have that don't have grandkids, that needs the help, that needs to be taken to the store, that needs the grass cut. And with this foundation, we'll actually pay youths to actually, that gives them something to do when they're out of school, or instead of being in the streets. We'll pay you to go walk this elderly lady to the store, or to take her, cut her grass, or help with whatever. So with the website, the graph will actually show where every dollar is going. One thing that I really want to touch on, a lot of people don't understand what a foundation is for some reason. Some people think that a foundation is that you pull in money and you use it for certain reasons. If you look what a foundation is something that holds the sensibility of what, how did it go? It holds the sensibility of what standards are in something that you create. So by us creating the Kylin Foundation, the Kylin Foundation is going to help the community, not just help the family or help the situation or help try to find out what really happened. I have to, not only me, but people on the board, we actually have to sit back and go, okay, Kylin is gone now. Those people are going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. Regardless if they were right or wrong. They're going to do what they want to do. Now it's time to move past what happened to Kylin and what can we do with Kylin's situation to help our community where it don't happen again.
Right, there you go.
That's where we're at. So,
well said.
With the Kylin Foundation, once we get the paperwork all the way put in and get approved, because the state still has to approve everything, which we know they are because they know how we feel about this. A lot of people, once we find the state, Reverend McCorry and Bishop Collins are going to actually help us find a stationary place to where we can hold an office for this foundation, because I'm getting hundreds and 200s, and I know Miss Avery is as well, and Reverend McCorry, from people calling every day. I actually have to tune people off of my phone. I'm going through something. I just had a baby, or I want to kill myself. I got text messages, people saying, Mr. Ring, I'm going to kill myself. I need somebody to talk to. Well, we have people we talk to, and I actually, call somebody to pick me up to go to their house and talk to them. I don't even know half these people. But I've put myself in a situation to where people see me as an activist. I didn't ask to be that. I become one. So with that being said, I'm not totally a changed person. I'm still Robbie English at heart. Period. But I just see things a little different. And with the Kylin Foundation, we're going to make things for the community, not just for